The stadium buzzed with excitement, the air thick with cheers and the scent of popcorn. Thousands of fans had gathered for the biggest concert of the year, and among them was a man who had saved up for months to get the best seat in the house, a VIP spot right near the stage. He wasn't rich or famous, just an ordinary guy who loved music and wanted to treat himself to a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Dressed in a simple but sharp outfit, he held his ticket tightly as he made his way to his seat. The lights dimmed, the crowd roared, and his heart raced with anticipation. But just as he settled in, a staff member approached him, looking uncomfortable. "Excuse me, sir," the staff member said, hesitating. "There's been a mistake with the seating. We need to move you to another spot." The man frowned. "But I paid for this seat. This is the VIP section, it's printed right here on my ticket." The staff member shifted nervously. "I understand, but there's been an overbooking issue. We'll compensate you, but we need this seat." Before he could respond, a well-dressed couple walked up, flanked by security. The staff member quickly gestured to the man's seat. The couple glanced at him but said nothing, clearly expecting him to move. The crowd around them began to notice. Whispers spread. Was this really happening? A man being asked to give up his rightful seat for someone else? The man took a deep breath. He wasn't one to make a scene, but something about this felt wrong. He had worked hard for this moment. Why should he have to give it up? Instead of arguing, he did something unexpected. He smiled politely and said, "I'll move, but first, can I speak to the manager?" The staff member hesitated but nodded. As they walked away, the crowd's murmurs grew louder. People nearby exchanged glances, some annoyed, some sympathetic. When the manager arrived, the man calmly explained the situation. "I bought this ticket fair and square. If there's an issue, I'd like to understand why I'm being moved." The manager sighed. "Look, sir, these are important guests. We'd really appreciate your cooperation." The man paused. He could feel the eyes of everyone around him. He wasn't trying to be difficult, but he also wasn't going to be pushed aside without a good reason. Then, he did something that shocked everyone. Instead of getting angry or giving in, he pulled out his phone and started recording. "I just want to make sure this is handled fairly," he said calmly. The manager's face changed. The atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, the staff became much more attentive. What happened next? The situation was about to take a turn nobody saw coming. The manager's expression tightened as the man held up his phone. The couple waiting for the VIP seat exchanged uneasy glances, and the surrounding crowd leaned in, sensing the tension. Some pulled out their own phones, recording the scene. The energy in the stadium shifted, no longer just excitement for the concert, but anticipation for what would happen next. The manager forced a smile. "Sir, there's no need for that. Let's discuss this privately." But the man shook his head. "I'd rather keep things transparent. If there's a legitimate reason I need to move, I'll accept it. But right now, it feels like I'm being pushed out just because someone else wants my seat." Murmurs spread through the crowd. A few people shouted in support, "He paid for that seat. Let him stay." The manager hesitated, then lowered his voice. "Look, these are sponsors. The event organizers need to keep them happy. It's just how these things work." The man's jaw set. He understood how the world operated. Money and influence often dictated who got what. But today, he wasn't backing down. "If they wanted VIP seats, they should have bought them like I did," he said firmly. A security guard stepped forward, looming over him. "Sir, you need to comply or we'll have to escort you out." The threat hung in the air. The man's heart pounded, but he didn't flinch. He had faced tougher situations in life than this. Just as the guard reached for his arm, a voice cut through the noise. "Wait a second." A woman in the front row stood up. She was dressed casually but carried herself with authority. "I saw everything," she said, pointing at the staff. "This isn't right. He has every right to stay in his seat." Others around her nodded in agreement. The atmosphere grew heavier. What had started as a simple seating issue was now turning into a public standoff. The manager, sensing things spiraling, quickly pulled out his radio and muttered something into it. Within seconds, another staff member rushed over with a different ticket. "Sir, as an apology, we're upgrading you to a private box with complimentary food and drinks. Would that work?" The man glanced at the new ticket. It was a better seat, no doubt, but that wasn't the point. He looked around at the people watching, some filming, some whispering. He knew if he took the offer, the staff would sweep this under the rug, and nothing would change. Then, he made his decision. "No," he said, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "I don't want an upgrade. I want the seat I paid for." The crowd erupted in cheers. The couple who had been waiting for his seat looked uncomfortable, and the manager's face turned red. The security guard hesitated, no longer sure what to do. Just then, the lights in the stadium flickered. The concert was about to begin. The staff scrambled, realizing they were running out of time. And then, something unexpected happened. The lead singer of the band, who had been watching from backstage, suddenly walked out. The crowd went wild as he grabbed a microphone and said, "I think we've got a situation here. What's going on?" Silence fell over the section. No one had expected this. The sudden appearance of the singer sent a jolt through the crowd. Phones shot up, recording every second of the unfolding drama. The stadium staff froze, unsure how to react now that the spotlight had swung onto them. The man at the center of it all stood his ground, gripping his ticket like a shield. The singer, known for his outspoken nature, scanned the scene. "Someone wanna tell me why we've got security hassling a fan before the show even starts?" His voice boomed through the speakers, echoing across the arena. The manager stammered, It's just a seating mix-up, no big deal." The man stepped forward. "I paid for this VIP seat. They tried to move me because someone more important showed up." The singer's eyebrows shot up. He turned to the manager. "That true?" The manager shifted uncomfortably. "Well, these guests are sponsors, Anne." The singer cut him off with a laugh. "So what? Sponsors don't get to steal seats from paying fans." He turned to the crowd, microphone still live. "Y'all hear this? They tried to kick this man out of his own seat." The audience erupted, boos, cheers, a few chants of, "Let him stay." The couple who'd been waiting for the seat shrank back, clearly regretting ever getting involved. The singer motioned for quiet. "Here's what's gonna happen." He pointed at the man. You're staying right where you are. Nobody's taking your seat." Then he turned to the staff. "And you're gonna find these sponsors another spot. Not his." The crowd roared approval. The manager opened his mouth to protest, but the singer shot him a look that said, "Try me." Wisely, he backed off, waving the couple away. As the staff scrambled to fix the mess, the singer leaned in toward the man. "Sorry about that, man. Some people forget who this whole show's really for." He patted him on the shoulder, then, on impulse, pulled him up onto the stage. The crowd went wild. For a split second, the man stood frozen under the blinding lights, heart hammering. Then the singer grinned and thrust a spare microphone into his hand. "You know the words to Midnight Drive?" The man blinked. It was his favorite song. The band kicked in without waiting for an answer. The man hesitated, then, as the first verse hit, he sang. Tentatively at first, then louder, his voice blending with the singer's. The crowd sang along, phones flashing like stars. Back near the VIP section, the staff watched, slack-jawed. The manager wiped his forehead, realizing this was going viral right now. 3 songs later, the man finally returned to his seat, now the most famous person in the section. Strangers clapped him on the back. The couple who'd tried to take his seat were long gone. But as the concert roared on, something nagged at him. This wasn't just about a seat anymore. The way people had rallied around him, the singer stepping in, it felt bigger. Like a moment that could actually change things. And he was right. Because halfway through the show, the singer paused and said into the mic, "You know what? Tonight's got me thinking. Every venue's got a policy for this stuff. Maybe it's time we check theirs." He pointed to someone off stage. "Get me the head of events. Now." The crowd buzzed. This wasn't over yet. The arena lights stayed bright as a nervous-looking man in a suit hurried onto the stage. The crowd's murmurs grew louder. This was clearly the head of events the singer had demanded. He leaned in for a hushed conversation, but the singer deliberately held the microphone between them, amplifying their exchange for everyone to hear. "We need to talk about what happened tonight," the singer said, his playful tone gone. "A fan got treated like dirt because someone with more money wanted his seat. That happen often here?" The event coordinator's face flushed. "Of course not, this was just a mistake?" "Yeah, that's what they always say." The singer turned back to the crowd. "How many of you've ever been bumped from a seat you paid for?" Dozens of hands shot up. A few people shouted angry stories, overbooked flights, sold-out concerts where VIPs got last-minute access. The man in the VIP section clenched his fists. This wasn't just his fight anymore. The singer nodded. "Yeah. Thought so." He turned back to the coordinator. "So here's the deal. Either you announce, right now, that this venue's changing its policy, or I walk off stage and tell every reporter outside why." The crowd gasped. The coordinator's mouth opened and closed like a fish. The band behind the singer exchanged glances. This wasn't in the set list. Then, from the shadows of the stage, a woman in a sharp pantsuit strode forward. The coordinator looked relieved. Finally, he muttered. The woman grabbed the mic. "I'm the CEO of this arena. And tonight's situation is unacceptable." The crowd fell silent. "Effective immediately, our policy changes. No paying attendee will ever be displaced for sponsors or VIPs again. If we overbook, we eat the cost, not the fans." The stadium erupted. The singer grinned and clapped the CEO on the back like they'd just won a bet. The man in the VIP seat let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. But as the cheers died down, the CEO added one more thing. "And to make it right tonight, every person in this section." She pointed at the man's row. "Free upgrades to the luxury suites. Open bar. My treat." Pandemonium. Strangers hugged. The man laughed as the staff scrambled to hand out wristbands. The singer gave him a thumbs up before launching into the next song. Yet amid the celebration, the man noticed something. The event coordinator was glaring at him, phone pressed to his ear. Talking to someone. Making notes. This isn't over, the man realized. And he was right. Because as he headed to the luxury suite, a security guard stopped him. "Sir, come with me, please." The security guard's grip on the man's arm was firm but not rough. "Just need to have a quick word, sir," he said, steering him away from the celebrating crowd. The man's heart pounded. Had he done something wrong? Was this some kind of trick? They turned a corner into a quieter hallway, away from the noise. The guard let go and surprised him by lowering his voice. "Listen, I saw what happened out there. You stood your ground, respect for that." He glanced over his shoulder. "But you need to watch your back. The higher-ups aren't happy." The man frowned. What does that mean? Before the guard could answer, a door swung open nearby. The event coordinator from earlier stepped out, his face tight with anger. He spotted them and froze. Why is he back here? He snapped at the guard. The guard straightened up. Just escorting him to the luxury suite, sir. The coordinator's eyes narrowed. Good. Make sure he stays there. He shot the man one last glare before storming off. Once he was gone, the guard sighed. Like I said. Watch your back. He handed the man a business card with a phone number scribbled on the back. If anyone gives you trouble after tonight, call this number. It's the local news tip line. They'd love to hear about this. The man pocketed the card, stunned. He hadn't expected allies in the shadows. When he finally made it to the luxury suite, the mood was electric. Everyone cheered as he walked in, clapping him on the back, offering him drinks. A woman in a sparkly top raised her glass. To the guy who got us all free booze. Laughter filled the room, but the man couldn't shake the warning. He glanced at the security cameras in the corner. Were they watching him? The concert continued on the screens in the suite, but his mind was elsewhere. He pulled out his phone and saw notifications flooding in, social media tags, friend requests, messages from strangers. A video of him singing on stage already had 500,000 views. Then a new notification popped up, tagged in a post by the singer's official page. He tapped it. The singer had shared the viral video with a caption. Meet the fan who reminded us all, stand up for what's yours. Raised fist, tonight's win goes to him, and every person who's ever been pushed aside for someone more important. Hashtag no more seat stealing. The man's throat tightened. This was bigger than he'd ever imagined. But so were the risks. Because at that exact moment, his phone buzzed with an unknown number. The message read, "Enjoy your 15 minutes. It won't last." The anonymous text felt like a punch to the gut. The man stared at his phone, the celebratory noise of the luxury suite suddenly fading into background static. Someone was watching. Someone wanted him to know this wasn't over. He slipped his phone into his pocket and forced a smile as another fan offered him a drink. The suite buzzed with energy, people laughing, taking selfies with the stage visible through the glass, toasting to their unexpected upgrade. But the man couldn't shake the creeping sense of unease. That text hadn't been an empty threat. A tap on his shoulder made him jump. It was the security guard from earlier, now out of uniform in a plain black t-shirt. "You okay?" the guard asked quietly. "You look like you've seen a ghost." The man hesitated, then showed him the text. The guard's expression darkened. "Yeah, that tracks. Listen." He leaned in closer. "The venue's PR team is in damage control. They're scrambling because this whole thing's gone viral. But some of the higher-ups? They don't like being embarrassed." Before the man could respond, a commotion erupted near the suite entrance. Two men in suits were arguing with event staff, demanding to be let in. The man recognized one of them, the event coordinator from earlier. The guard tensed. "That's not good. Come with me." He quickly guided the man through a side door into a service hallway. "Back way out. There's press waiting at the main exits, but if you take the loading dock stairs down to dash." A loud voice interrupted them. "There he is." The coordinator stood at the end of the hall, flanked by security. "We just want to talk," he called out, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. The guard stepped slightly in front of the man. "He's leaving. Any talking can happen through official channels tomorrow." The coordinator's face twisted in frustration. "You don't understand what you're messing with," he hissed. Then, noticing the man's phone recording, he suddenly straightened his tie. "Fine. But this isn't over. That seat was contractually promised to Dash. A roar from the crowd in the stadium drowned out his words. The final song was ending. The guard seized the moment. Now. Go. He pressed a keycard into the man's hand. This gets you out through catering. There's a rideshare pickup on 14th Street. The man didn't hesitate. He moved quickly down the dimly lit hallway, heart pounding. As he rounded a corner, he heard shouting behind him. Then his phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Check your email. We can make this worth your while. He kept moving, pushing through a set of double doors into a brightly lit catering kitchen. Staff glanced up curiously as he hurried past stacks of trays and rolling carts. The exit sign glowed red ahead. Just as he reached for the door handle, his phone rang. The caller ID showed a local news station. He answered. Hello? Hi, this is Lisa Cho with Channel 7 News, said an eager voice. We'd love to get your reaction to the arena's just-released statement about tonight's incident. They're claiming this was all a ticketing system error and offering you lifetime VIP passes. What do you say to that? The man paused, his hand on the exit door. Outside, the night air waited. Inside, a brewing storm. He took a deep breath. I say, let's talk on camera. The moment the man agreed to the interview, everything accelerated. The news reporter quickly arranged to meet at a 24-hour diner 2 blocks away, somewhere neutral with good lighting, she'd said. As he stepped out into the cool night air, the weight of the evening pressed down on him. His phone kept buzzing, unknown numbers, social media notifications, texts from friends who'd seen him go viral. He walked quickly, glancing over his shoulder more than once. The diner's neon sign glowed up ahead, a beacon of normalcy. Through the window, he spotted a young woman with a sleek bob and a Channel 7 microphone already set up on the table. She waved when she saw him. You're braver than I would have been, Lisa Cho said as he slid into the booth. She pushed a coffee toward him. Black, 2 sugars, hope that's right. The warmth of the mug grounded him. How'd you know my order? She grinned. Lucky guess. Now, before we start rolling, off the record. Are you okay? Really? The genuine concern in her voice surprised him. He exhaled. Honestly? I just wanted to see a concert. Now I've got anonymous threats and lifetime passes being thrown at me. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Threats? Show me. As he pulled up the texts, her professional mask slipped, just for a second, into anger. Oh, they're playing dirty. Good. She adjusted her mic, let's make sure everyone sees this. The camera light blinked on. Tonight, an ordinary concertgoer stood up for his rights, and exposed what many call a VIP culture problem in live events, Lisa began. Then she turned to him. Walk us through what happened when you refused to give up your seat. He told the story simply, the paid ticket, the demand to move, the singer's intervention. When he mentioned the texts, Lisa had him hold his phone up to the camera. And now the arena is offering you lifetime VIP access, she said. Is that justice, or hush money? The question hung in the air. He studied the coffee swirling in his mug. It's not about the seats anymore. It's about whether money should decide who gets treated fairly. Lisa leaned in. What would you say to the people watching who've faced similar situations? He looked straight into the camera. That you shouldn't need a viral moment or a celebrity stepping in just to get what you paid for. The interview wrapped as his phone buzzed again, this time, a notification from the singer's official account tagging him in a new post. Proud of this man. Arena's lifetime pass offer? Too little, too late. Real change starts now, my team's drafting a fan bill of rights for all future tours. No more seat stealing. No more excuses. Lisa's producer whispered excitedly off camera. This just went national. But as the man stepped out of the diner later, the euphoria faded. The empty street felt too quiet. Then headlights flared, a black SUV slowed as it passed him. His breath caught. The vehicle rolled forward, then stopped. The window lowered. "Need a ride?" It was the security guard from earlier, now in civilian clothes. "Figured you might want company walking to your car." Relief flooded through him. "How'd you find me?" The guard tapped his phone. "You're kind of famous now. And let's just say, some of us have been waiting for a chance to call out the bullshit." As they walked, the guard shared stories, other incidents swept under the rug, pressure from sponsors, the real reason he'd handed over that tip line number earlier. "You're not just some guy in a viral video anymore," the guard said as they reached the parking lot. "You're proof they can't keep getting away with this. That's powerful, and dangerous." The man unlocked his car, the weight of the night settling onto his shoulders. He thought about the lifetime pass offer. The threats. The millions now watching. One question burned in his mind: what happens when the spotlight fades? He was about to find out. Because as he drove home, his phone lit up with an email notification from the state attorney general's office. The email notification glowed on his phone screen like a live wire. Hands slightly unsteady, the man pulled over to the shoulder of the quiet road and opened it. "Dear Sir. Our office has become aware of tonight's events at the arena through news coverage. We are investigating potential violations of consumer protection laws and would appreciate your testimony. Please contact us at your earliest convenience." A laugh burst out of him, half relief, half disbelief. The state attorney general? This had gone so far beyond a concert seat. When he got home, his apartment felt strangely normal. The same creaky floorboard near the kitchen, the same faint hum of the refrigerator. But when he checked his social media, reality tilted, his follower count had exploded. Hundreds of messages poured in from strangers sharing their own stories. "Happened to me at a baseball game last year. Airline gave my paid seat to some priority passenger. You're giving us all courage to speak up." He fell asleep with his phone still buzzing, only to wake hours later to a thunderous knocking. The peephole revealed Lisa Cho and her camera operator. "Sorry to ambush you," she called through the door, "but check the news." On his TV, the morning shows were running segments about Seatgate. The arena had issued a groveling apology overnight. More startling, 3 major sports franchises announced new ticket integrity policies. Lisa's cameraman shouldered his equipment. "Mind if we get your reaction?" What followed was a whirlwind. By noon, he'd given 3 more interviews. Politely declined the arena's lifetime pass, keep it, just honor people's tickets. Received a call from the singer's manager about joining the Fan Bill of Rights campaign. But the real turning point came that evening. The security guard, whose name he finally learned was Javier, showed up at his door with 2 men in suits. "These are the AG investigators," Javier said. "They want our help." The men laid out documents showing a pattern. The arena had forcibly relocated over 200 paying attendees in the past year alone to accommodate preferred guests. "With your testimony and Javier's insider account," one investigator said, "we can pursue criminal fraud charges." The man sat silent for a long moment. All he'd wanted was to enjoy a concert. Now he held the power to change an entire industry. Let's do it. The months that followed were a blur. The lawsuit made headlines, leading to reforms at venues nationwide. The Fan Bill of Rights, launched with the singer's tour, became standard practice. Javier got promoted to head of security at a rival venue, with a mandate to protect fan rights. 1 year later, the man returned to the same arena for a different concert. This time, no one questioned his VIP seat. As the lights dimmed, a teenager in the next seat leaned over. "Hey, aren't you that guy from the videos?" He smiled. Just a guy who wanted to see a show. When the music started, he sang along, loud and unself-conscious. Because somewhere along the way, he'd learned an important lesson. Sometimes, standing up for what's yours changes everything.